think there's a fine line, and this is where, I would say for myself is there's a fine line in trying to take other things outside of yourself and make yourself worth more because you think the prop or the outfit or the lighting or whatever you want to do to bring yourself to that world, you need it in order to put that tape forward. And there's a difference between I want to have this stuff. I want to put on the costume. I want to have the prop. I want to actually take myself there because it's going to help me tell the story that I want to tell versus this will be cool and I'll make sure that they know that I get it.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of Talent Agent Talk, where we are bringing you educational lessons and real life stories behind the scenes of TV and film. I'm your host and talent agent, Jason Lockhart, and today I've got one of my friends here and also a client. Everybody, this is Wes.
Hello.
Wes, I mean, first of all, it's pretty cool to just like hang out, but
Yeah, this is
also
awesome.
let one of our conversations be recorded for a change.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do want to talk about your career as an actor.
Yeah, for
you know,
sure.
like on the forefront. I know you also teach and have a school, a studio that's TWAG. It's very exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where they do wonderful things for actors.
Thank you. Yeah, we the Working Actor Group is what it's called, and we definitely love being a resource for actors. But I would say like definitely because of you and the team, actor first. You know.
I mean, you really are like. And I think that's one of the reasons why TWAG is successful is because it's run by working actors.
Yeah.
You know, you're a working actor. Right? That's why I kind of joked, like, I'd love to have you come on. And I don't even know what credit we should talk about. It's so many.
Yeah, there's been a lot. I think...
You're always on TV and in movies.
Yeah, I think one of the credits that really sticks out to me would be when I booked FBI New York, only because I started there and then I came to Atlanta, and then when I went back, I remember the first day that I was called to set was on the same block of the restaurant that I used to work at.
Yeah.
And so it was like this full circle moment of this. I don't know if you've read The Alchemist, but it's kind of it's a book about like life's journey and how you have to take the full journey to appreciate the answer that was already there. And I think it was one of those, there's so many cool bookings, but the ones that really stick out to me are the ones that I feel like spiritually feel fulfilling as the artist, as the actor, where I'm like, wow, I couldn't have planned that. I couldn't have, made that happen. It was just one of those things. If I'm listening, it's like, I'm in the right place. I'm doing the right thing. And this is my sign, So those are really cool moments.
Yeah. And you can't craft that.
Yeah.
You know, like that's just happening.
Yeah. You're literally like, what's happening?
The same block. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
super cool.
Do you remember that audition? Like anything special about it?
I remember there, I remember getting it, and I remember just having fun. I think really when I think about the auditions that I feel the best in are the ones that I'm just really having fun with, and I'm just like making a choice and being clear in the story that I'm telling, and then literally letting it go, and the right ones come back for sure.
Well, I do have a question for you because I've seen a lot of your auditions, and I feel like they're all bookable. Seriously.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thanks.
And I think the overarching theme that I see from you is that you actually make it look easy.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you go into tapes like, I got, like, not necessarily like I'm gonna get this, but like I know what I'm doing here, and you just do it?
Yeah,
Does it feel easy to you?
I think there's always the exception where I'm like, this one's tricky, but usually I know what story I want to tell, and I know like I know the version that I want to do, and I think I go in deciding to absolutely feel effortless. I think that's the trick of the whole thing, if we're gonna like, it can't feel, and there's also like the pre-rehearsal where it's kind of like, okay, this is not exactly how I intended it, and also the process of finding it, I think too is important. But I think definitely wanting to make it feel effortless is important. I don't know. I kind of lost it there, but
No,
yeah,
I know what you
yeah,
mean. Like, because I see it. So
yeah,
if that is conscious, that's huge.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you have any audition in particular that you know that did lead to a booking where you felt a certain kind of way about the audition, either really great or unsure or
Yeah, I mean, I would say that you know, some of the best work that I think I've done actually didn't lead to a booking, if that makes sense.
yeah, okay, give me
Like
one.
some of like the most recently the pilot that we auditioned for, and they called me back for a bigger role, and I ended up going in with production and working with them on this role, and I felt like I felt like when I left that audition, I felt so clear. I felt so I did what I needed to do in the room with the team, and I didn't get it, but then I had like the privilege of going back to the table read and being a part of the team in that way. And they took me aside and they said, "Hey, we really loved what you did. Sorry we couldn't make it work this time." And when I was sitting there and like watching everything play out and seeing who they cast and getting a real sense of the story, it was almost as if like it was okay. Like if I were in their position, I would not necessarily have cast me either. And it was this like full circle moment of like they really believe in me. I believe that I did what I needed to do, and it wasn't personal at all. And I feel like so many times we don't get that insight. We just don't get it. You know what I mean? And then we like try to make up a story, or we
You're like,
decide we
I
know
wasn't
why.
yeah, I wasn't
Yeah.
tall enough or
Yeah.
to play opposite that person
Yeah,
or
yeah, and we decide that we have all these reasons of why it didn't work, and then we live our life that way. And I think this was a moment that I was able to really know, hey, that's actually not the story. This is what happened, and this is the story, and it has nothing to do with you, And that feels very empowering as well. Like I can still just lead with what I know I'm doing, and know that what I'm doing is effective, and I'm on the right path doing that without it being this negative, message to
yeah.
myself as an artist.
I love that you learned that lesson.
Yeah.
And I love that we've got that lesson recorded here for audiences because it's not about you when you don't book it. I mean, it could be like you could have totally like effed up
Sure.
the audition.
Yeah, yeah,
But
absolutely.
most of the time that's not the case, especially if you have like a strong agency, and you're auditioning all the time,
Yeah.
and you're in class and you've got a resume.
Yeah.
Like you're good at what you do.
Yeah.
So if you don't book it, it's not that they didn't like you or that you didn't do well.
For sure.
It's that they chose someone else for who
Right.
knows what reason.
Right.
Because they wanted to. That's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah. And it's so hard because self-taping is such an insular experience too. Where like it's like, well, you don't know anything and you can feel very powerless. And so it's like all you have is the little bit of information that you have, and so it's easy to play casting director, it's easy to play production director, it's easy to look on IMDb and decide that you know the story, but so many times like you just don't know. you know and
Yeah.
it's not, I think the more I learn to not take it personally and just stay in my lane and tell the story and tell a clear story and know who I am and what I want to do with it, and make it as real as possible, and as truthful as possible, and also to not make it feel like it's an actor acting, right? It's like I'm really this character living truthfully in this experience. That's it. And some of the best auditions lately that I feel like I've done have just been the ones that I send in, are the ones that like I do things that I haven't even thought about doing, and the tape is just happening, and I'm like, whoa, I don't know where that came from. Great, let's send it. Which is a cool place to be in too.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
And a great audition, I say this all the time, a great audition can't be unseen.
Yes. Yes.
Every time you get an opportunity
Yeah.
from a big casting office, you've got somebody really important who's going to watch your work,
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's
if
so
it's
true.
strong, they're only going to like you more and give you more opportunities until, eventually it does land. And in like your case, I don't know how many you have to go before you book one. It's like sometimes 1 in 4, maybe it's 1 in 15. Like you're always going to, once you're booking, you're
Yeah.
always going to be booking. It's just a
Yeah.
question of, is it the right timing?
Right.
Does everything line up
Right.
for you in this role in this production?
Absolutely.
But if they
And
like what you turn in, like that pilot, I bet you're going to end up somewhere in the series.
yeah, I mean, and that's it's like, that's the great thought. But then it's like, I'll land where I'm supposed to be because it's just gonna be right. And I think like finding my worth in that way of like, I'm worthy to be on the show. I can do the job. Right. But like, was it right for that particular role? Maybe not. And that's okay. And maybe there's another one, or maybe there's something even cooler. That's why I love what we do.
I know.
Because you just don't know, and all of a sudden it can just do a 180, and then it's happening in that moment again, and you're like, wow, this is crazy.
I know. And then there are periods where you get really busy.
Yeah.
Like when you were doing Walking Dead World Beyond.
Oh,
you were
yeah.
just busy for a while.
Yeah, I loved being on that show. So cool.
Did you learn anything on that show?
I mean, there's just nothing like being immersed in this world. We were in the middle of a field in Virginia for weeks. Like, they built the town up, and the cell phone service didn't work. I think, like, where we were shooting, you were not allowed to wear orange because there was a lot of like prisons around the area, and so if you wore orange, they would think that you might have been an escaped like prisoner. So the like wardrobe was like no orange. It was very rural, and it was a cool experience to be in this post-apocalyptic world and like have like knives strapped to your leg and spears and like random zombies walking behind the house, and you're just like, this is so cool. Like and the bond that you make on a set like that is different than when you're just like popping in for a day or even a week and something local, just because it's it's its own moving machine. But when you're on set there, you're really immersed in it. And I learned, I watched a lot of great actors come in that were leading the show that would just really own the space, and they would like move through the work in a way that I was like, wow, they have complete freedom, and they're having fun, and it was really, that was kind of like because I'm used to it with the theater, but being in the TV film space and watching someone come in and work through 8 pages of script in like one take, with the camera just following them around the room and being like, wow, they know every beat. Wow. They are owning every beat, and they are taking their time and also like telling a very clear story. This is awesome, and it was having those experiences where it was like, oh, that's how you do it. Okay, cool.
That's why they get paid so much.
Yeah, and that's
people think it pays a lot because there's like glory or fame. It pays a lot because it's really hard to execute that at that level.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. For every like it was watching master storytellers just doing their very best work, in a cool way, in a world that was existing, and then they burned it all to the ground. The whole thing exploded. That was really cool to watch too. Just be a part of the whole production. So that was fun.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to ask you because I worked on Walking Dead for years too, behind the scenes, but I've seen a lot of the photos and talked to a lot of the actors of the costume pieces and the props and the extremities.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, because you brought that up, do you feel like that does help you get into the world? All of the things that they strap on you and give you, like, what does that do for you?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. I think that was the most fun fitting I've ever had. I think it was like 2 or 3 hours long, and it was just, do you like this? Do you like that? Hey, let's put this weapon here. Let's strap this on over here. And it was a very the experience was like, oh, I get to own this character, and this is like a cool. I mean, they were like, this is very Mad Max, and I was like, I love this, and it does put you in the world, but also being in the world, kind of without anything else around. You're sitting in like even like the holding areas in this abandoned house in the middle of a field, and you're like, don't have cell service. You're like, well, I guess we're here, we're telling this story. So
really in the world.
Yeah.
Would you ever take some of that worldly stuff, some of the extremities, and put them into an audition?
In what way you think?
Let's say you're doing a post-apocalyptic thing like that, or you're auditioning for the Daryl Dixon season 2. Like,
sure.
Can you do all of that and go full out for the audition, or you think that's too much?
I think the beauty of what we do is that there are no rules.
Hell yeah. I agree, because it's pick and choose what inspires you, what's going to help you tell your story without it being distracting.
Yeah, I just did an audition. I think there's a fine line, and this is where, I would say for myself, is there's a fine line in trying to take other things outside of yourself and make yourself worth more because you think the prop or the outfit or the the lighting or whatever you want to do to bring yourself to that world, you need it in order to put that tape forward. And there's a difference between, I want to have this stuff, I want to put on the costume, I want to have the prop, I want to actually take myself there because it's going to help me tell the story that I want to tell, versus this will be cool and I'll make sure that they know that I get it. That there's a difference. And I think when you're coming from the ownership of it, you actually do make really cool choices and you own it. And whether it's right or not, or whether they pass it on or not, or whether production hates it or loves it, you freaking stuck the landing and you owned it, which is different than trying to make it up, if you will.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love your passion behind that. And I hope everybody takes that to heart when you're making your decisions for your self-tapes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So moving forward into future self-tapes,
Sure.
any dream role on the horizon for you?
Dream roles. Yeah, I mean, I definitely, there's like something like with like a space sci-fi action drama where I'm like the leader of the bad guys. That'd be sweet. Maybe like Apple TV, Amazon, something like that would be really cool. Yeah.
I'm starting to think maybe we should make that headshot happen in advance and put it out there into the world, like play the character and solidify that story 2D. You know?
I love that.
Well, cool, man. Well, what a joy to like have you here and just get to kind of shoot the shit about, educational lessons in our industry.
For sure. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for doing this. This is great stuff. So really fun.
As a additional thank you for being here. I know you've probably seen an episode or two. You do win a free car.
Oh,
so feel free to reach in the bag. Let's see what car you're going home with.
And a Star Wars bag, nonetheless.
Yeah, Sarah Carpenter gave me that bag. She saw it. And,
I have to reach in. I see.
Yeah, you're not supposed to look. So that bag's got some special magic Sarah power to me.
All right, Trans Am.
All right,
84 Pontiac Firebird.
That's a cool one for you.
Oh yeah, very cool.
A little vintage.
I love it.
I think Mark will like that too.
For sure.
Cool. Thank you to everyone for tuning in today. It means a lot to us that you gave us your time, and hopefully it was proven valuable with some educational lesson for you. And thank you to Jesse Malinowski and Get Seen for producing Talent Agent Talk. And if you would like to be a guest on this show because you have a really great booking story with an educational lesson, feel free to pitch it directly to us. It's talentagenttalk@gmail.com. Again, that is talentagenttalk@gmail.com. Thank you so much. And Wes, thank you again, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks again so much for watching. And if you loved that story and were interested to learn more about the casting office that actually cast that show, then I have some really cool news, because our sister show, Get Seen Unscripted, actually had them on the show. So you'll see it right here. Do not miss that episode. Over an hour on one-on-one with that casting director, talking about things that they like, don't like, to help give you the edge in your next audition. So thanks again so much for tuning in and watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you on the next one.